Hello! Well, time for another challenge build. Today, I think we should make some wind chimes. I've wanted to make some for a little while and kind of finally feel confident enough to be able to pull it off. Here we have some sheet metal, which we'll use for the wind catcher. This, I'm going to cut the top off of, and that's going to be the ring that will hold the pipes and the hook for hanging. Here we have a long section of aluminum pipe that we are going to use to make the tubes, and then I'll have to grab a piece of wood from somewhere to make the part that hits the tubes. I'll probably use archery line to secure all of it. I'll put the design on screen now. This is kind of like what we're aiming for. And the tuning that we're going to be aiming for, I'll put the sample in now. So, should sound something like that when we're done, and yeah, we will go ahead and get started. Alright, so we now have two 45-inch tubes, roughly. This is where it gets tricky with making something like a tubed instrument. We have one that's already been textured and cut to size and tuned and everything. It is a B4. At least very close anyway. We are within range with these two larger tubes. So we need, the lowest tube is a D4 sharp. And we have a, let's see, where was it? Roughly a D3, which is lower, so that's good. That means that no matter what, we should be able to get the right tuning as long as we take this slowly. So here we've got roughly 1 inch marked off. I'm going to cut it and see how it changes the tone of the tube. Okay, so here we are with the original size of tube. This is a D3, very close to anyway. And here is what the tube sounds like 1 inch shorter. Halfway between a D3 and a D3 sharp. About a half tone per inch. Okay, so looking at this on a piano, that means that we are roughly between these two notes, and we need to be here instead for our lowest tube, because it's going to be for our tuning. Okay, pardon the mess. This is very confusing to me. So here is the textured one that is like 24 inches. It's sitting right at B4. So you would think that a tube that is longer than it would make a deeper pitch, right? Here's the one that I just cut. The one that was deeper before cutting, and now that I have cut it is, well, sitting at a C5. One note above this one. How? I'm not sure. I don't know. It's about a foot longer. I would have thought it would follow kind of like a fairly steady like curve or whatever on a graph of like, yeah, shorter equals this, longer equals this. It might be that this doesn't work at all like I thought it does. It might not be that it works at all. I don't know, but yeah, we're about to find out, I guess. Okay, so get a load of this. This is very odd. So this is the one we just cut. It's now the medium length tube. Was an A4 sharp, I believe. Is now a G5 sharp. If you hold it towards the top. If you hold it a little bit lower, it becomes an almost perfect D4 sharp. Huh. So we have two of the three tubes tuned, is what that means. By complete accident. Okay, alright, so I guess what the rest of this will consist of is very carefully cutting the longest tube 1 inch at a time until we creep up on the other note that we need. Alright, remarkable. We now have our tuning. So, we have a B4, and an E4. Now the next thing we can do is texturing. See, this doesn't take a lot. That already got us up to a perfect E4, so I'm going to do just a little bit more. And that should get us to the very slightly overshot sharpness. Okay, and with that, they are tuned. So we now have a very slightly sharp B4. A very slightly sharp D4 sharp, and a very slightly sharp E4. Now, I need to determine exactly where to drill the holes in these, because that does matter. As we determined earlier, the larger pipes, they kind of have two spots that, depending on where you hold them, you're going to get a different pitch. So if I hold them too close to the top, let me zoom out for you. If I hold it too close to like the top, it'll create a higher pitch sound. If I hold it closer down here, it's a lower pitch sound. And if you hold it in the middle, you get an awful sound. And if you hold it too low, it's going to just sound very dull. So I want to maximize the position so that I can get a tone that has the most resonance and the most volume. So this is pretty neat. I had these sitting here drying, and I just decided to kind of tap one of them, and it made a really weird sound. Nice. Okay, yeah, that's basically the look I was going for. So. Alright, so for the sake of speed, I went ahead and I did just a couple things. I did a test mock-up to see how everything hangs, and it hangs well. If you look at it from the top, got good clearance between the pipes, everything's pretty even. I made a just rough knocker. Here is the wind catcher that I decided to go with. I'm going to clean it, and then I will spray paint it. Alright, well, I've got everything painted, and now we just need to assemble it. Okay, well, I think it turned out pretty okay. There's the whole of it. Have to really back up to see the whole thing. It's not crooked, it's just since it's hanging in the tree, it's canted a little bit. Okay, one thing I will say that I learned is the pipes don't hang straight down in line with this rim. If the two connection points are, you know, off the sides, it makes it more narrow. So that kind of squeezed all the pipes together a little bit closer than I would have liked. I would have liked them to be slightly more spread out. I also learned that where you hit the tubes really makes a difference. So here I have this one pretty much in line, but these are higher up. If you remember when I was testing, if you held the tube higher up, it would create a different sound. Well, this is also true of where it's struck, apparently, especially with something that's a harder material. So that is something I probably should have tested before I made the whole thing. I would reassemble it, but I've glued the strings, so they're in place now. The tuning that we have is the tuning that we have. It still sounds good, but it is unfortunately not the exact tuning that it was supposed to be. Sort of. So the low frequencies in the tubes that are produced are actually there, but the highs are kind of like what's the most prominent and obvious that you can hear, so that's a little bit strange. But overall, I think it sounds fine. This is what it sounds like. So, not bad. I think it still sounds very nice. It's slightly clankier, maybe, than I would have wanted, but, you know, first one, I suppose. Overall, pretty pleased with it. It still sounds good, so I'm happy. Still looks good, so I'm happy. Yeah. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe and all that stuff. Helps out the channel. And if you'd like to be a part of the next challenge build, every other month I let my Power Hammer tier patrons vote on a poll. Be things I either design myself, something I find online, you know, and I'll make the winning item. If that sounds interesting to you, you can check it out. I'll have a link in the description. If not, no pressure. And thank you very much for watching.